The 802nd edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up at UnderdogFantasy.com and use promo code MMASGPN to get up to $1,000 in bonus credits.
Howdy ho, DeGenerinos. Welcome to the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Episode 802 goes out to Pat on Twitter, who says you guys killed the card last night, which is true. We did kill the card. And he thinks the Woodson stoppage was BS. So there you go. That's
right
one of the fights.
I don't know what the hell that was.
Well, he wasn't, he was blocking and not getting hit, but yeah, they stopped.
And standing up.
Yeah.
Like he was like working on standing up.
Yep. But we did kill. That was Gumby Vreeland just heard. I am the ass grinder, Jeff Fox. Gumby Vreeland went 11-2. I went 9-4. So Gumby had to do better than me, of course. Gumby is in the lead for the year. Gumby's up money for the year. $171. You're up if you bet $100 in every fight in the UFC. Gumby.
When you pick 11 winners in 2 or 3 cards, it doesn't hurt. Yeah. We've been hot lately in UFC.
Yep. So a rare and hopefully short-lived lead for Gumby, and then I will pull ahead as per usual.
This is because you doubted Volkanovski. You know that,
it's
right?
True. It's true. The old guy,
still the same guy.
The old guy had some left. There were some points where I'm like, oh, here we go. But yeah, I still think, I don't know, like a Rodriguez could probably finish him. I mean,
if he fights Yair Rodriguez, he's just going to take him down and own him.
Yeah.
Like he's just going to be on top of him the whole time. I would say the biggest test out there is probably Gian Silva,
right?
Because like, I know people are going to say Movsar Evloev and stuff like that. He deserves his title shot or whatever. Evloev isn't going to scare him on the feet and isn't going to take him down enough to win the fight. And he's just, I mean, we saw it again last night. He's just so damn crafty when it comes to mixing his striking up, and you can't account for that.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, he looked like the old books. Still, concerns about the old chinny chin. But if they give him Evloev next, then that would be safe. But it seems like probably Mexico City, not Mexico City. They're going somewhere in Mexico, so you would probably think. And it's in September, so it would fit in nicely to put Yair Rodriguez in there. So, but
I think Yair Rodriguez is getting Diego Lopez next. I don't know if you caught any of the press conference. Those guys have got some heat.
They do.
I don't have any idea what it's about. I didn't do any digging. Sounds like somebody was mad.
Spanish? How do you not know?
Somebody was mad about somebody's training partner doing something, and whatever it was, it seems like they're destined for a matchup with each other. And like nothing about how Yair beat Patricio like demanded a title shot, right? It was just like Patricio was gun shy and Yair threw 4 more strikes than he did. So like, I didn't see anything super title shot. It will be interesting to see what they do next at featherweight, because there's not a clear number one unless you're a big Evloev believer.
Yeah, and the people that matter are not. So the matchmakers. So which is the most important thing. All right. Hopefully all you PFL stands are happy that we talked about UFC off the top. But these things are going to happen in MMA. And lucky I checked this here fight card that we're going to cover today before we went to air, because it changed a lot in the past like 24 hours or whenever or 48 hours since I did the original breakdowns for these fights. A lot of fights have fallen through. PFL they can't seem to keep a fight together, Gumby. Do
you know my favorite set of movements are because we're doing middleweights today? My favorite set of movements on this middleweight fight card is that Impa Kasanganay was supposed to fight Fabian Edwards in the main event. Fabian Edwards pulled out of that fight and was replaced with Jordan Newman, who then pulled out of that fight and was replaced with Fabian Edwards. And I can't for the life of me figure out how that happened.
Yeah, exactly.
It turns out Fabian Edwards was fine. And I don't know if like Jordan Newman got dropped because Fabian Edwards was like, just kidding, I can fight. But if that is true, but if that is true, Jordan Newman didn't get his alternate bout back. And I don't know why he would be the odd man out in this situation. But weird stuff happening over there for PFL.
It's like we were praising, or you were praising that, they're simplifying things. They're making it just a straightforward tournament now, and it's still shenanigans are occurring. So, but we're glad they're running this week because no UFC this week. So we've got 2 episodes of PFL for you, and then LFA, and then what's happening Wednesday, Thursday. I haven't even looked ahead yet.
Cage Warriors action for you.
Nice. Two Cage Warriors events too.
I think there's only one. We'll either do prelims and main card, or maybe we'll hit next week's because there's a lot of good regional MMA next week too.
Yeah. Excellent stuff. But today is all about the PFL 2025 World Tournament First Round 3. Catchy name. We're split it into 2 different weight classes like we did I guess for the whole season is probably how we'll do it until the actual until they start breaking up more weight classes per fight card. But as of now, that's the way to do it. And today is going to be all about the middleweights. After I remind you that if you're looking for all of SGPN's picks and podcasts in one convenient place, then download our app, the free SGPN app, wherever you get your apps. So just search in your app store. You'll love our app. All right, let's dive into the 185. So round 3, Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida, and it is taking place on Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern. Their times are all over the place. This past weekend, first week was Thursday, then last week it was Friday, but it started at 9. Is that right? The prelim started.
It was a late one, whatever it was.
9 and 11, I think, and then this week is starting at 4. So,
okay,
yeah. We're down to 9 fights, so we lost quite a few fights, as I said off the top. But middleweights, thoughts on the middleweights fight card? Are we missing anyone that we should not be missing?
No, this is mostly the crew now that Fabian Edwards is back in it. I mean, I guess we're missing Jordan Newman, who is supposed to be an alternate, and they filled in with Nick Maximov, who is kind of like a poor man's Jordan Newman.
Bigger name though.
I mean, he's a bigger name because he was in the UFC, but Jordan Newman was like undefeated or big college wrestler. Nick Maximov has like the intent to fight the same way and just like is worse at it. But yeah, like maybe more of a household name, but not a better fighter. So yeah, like it's got all the people you would expect in it. I kind of think it's funny. Their light heavyweight finalists are both in this one just because it was very clear they didn't have a light heavyweight division last year.
Yep. Then hey, we'll cut whatever it takes to win $500,000. So, all right, let's dive into this card with. This is a alternate bout or not?
Yes.
Do we have? Okay. The first, that's right. This weight class has alternate. I guess the 155s will not have alternate. Maybe they'll have one after we record, which would be really nice of them to do, of course. All right. So this is the alternate bout for middleweights. Khalid Murtazaliev. Don't act like you're confident with it. Off air, you were not. So versus Nick Maximov. There's a lot of ovs and evs and whatnot. That's what PFL thrives on. All right. 3 5-minute rounds. Let's break it down. No odds yet for the PFL, but they are usually pretty early. So we probably will have them within a day or two. Murtazaliev, 17-3 with 13 knockouts. He's been knocked out 1 time. He's durable. This is his debut in the PFL. He's won 2 straight in 6 of 7. He went 3-1 in Bellator, 1-0 in the UFC. Missed weight before. He fought in the UFC for real. Do I have that right?
Murtazaliev?
Yeah, that can't be right. 1-0 in UFC, really? When did he fight?
All right, I'm on it. I'll put the
CB Dollaway, September.
Oh, he popped for steroids after that.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, and then because I bet you that was 2019, like right before the pandemic. Yeah. And then he was off until after the pandemic because he had a 2-year USADA pop.
You're right.
I do remember that now.
All right. He's a drug cheat. Perfect. Has missed weight before as well. Has not fought since March 2023. He's not lost since September 2021. Used to fight at 205 and heavyweight. Maximov is 11-2 with 2 knockouts, 4 submissions. He's been submitted once. This is a short notice debut in the PFL. He's won 3 straight before that. He lost 2 straight. He's not lost a fight since October 2022. He's a regional champ. He went 2-2 in the UFC. He went 1-0 in Contender Series. He also fought up at light heavyweight and heavyweight. 5-5 as a pro grappler, according to Topology. 4 years younger than Murtazaliev. I don't know why I'm struggling with that, but I am. 4 inches of reach on him.
Yeah, I think Murtazaliev here probably going to be like a negative 300 favorite. No offense to Maximov. He's kind of like the known quantity here, though. We've seen what it looks like when he faces a guy who can match his wrestling and is as good as he is at submissions, right? Because Maximov's thing is like Yeah, he's got like a little bit of a wrestling background, but it's more of like jujitsu heavy wrestling. Because he's a Diaz guy. And so like his hands have not become being a Diaz guy yet. He's still like real clunky on the feet and kind of slow. But on the mat, like he's really sharp. He knows his submissions. But we've seen what happens when he runs into a guy who matches that, right? Like he ran into Petrosky, and Petrosky.
We'll never forget that. Never forget
that. Somehow Petrosky was a 2-1 underdog. And I was like, this guy ain't going to be able to deal with Petrosky. Like, I know we're calling him a Diaz brother in terms of his grappling, but he's not that. He's not at that level. He's got that style, but he's not at that level. And Murtazaliev, like, I'm glad that you remembered that he was in the UFC, because now I do remember that fight with CB Dalloway, and like he got his wrestling going there too. But basically the way that I handicap when I looked at more of his recent fights is like he could wrestle Maximov if he wanted to. He's probably going to have to defend takedowns off of Maximov's back or, guillotine chokes on the way-in if he wants. But also, like, I think his wrestling is just good enough to force Maximov to stand and trade with him. And, like, he's way more well-versed on the feet. Is he perfect on the feet? I wouldn't say he's perfect on the feet, but I'd say, like, he knows how to throw a jab, which is a step higher than Maximov in a lot of senses. I watched one of his fights. He did a lot of work to the body in one of his fights, both with like a sidekick and in like a hook or a dig that he throws to the right side. So like I could see him beating Maximov on the feet and just avoiding him with the wrestling, but I could also see him taking him down a few times and beating him up there. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Murtazaliev. And again, I think probably a pretty big favorite.
All right. Get out of the gate with a fave, but that's okay. Got to pick the winners. All right. Before we dive into more winning picks, let me tell you about Edge Boost. Ever had your deposit blocked by your bank right before a big bet? Ever need to cash at 2 a.m. for another shot at the tables, but hit your ATM limit? Edge Boost has your back. Edge Boost is the first ever bank account built for bettors. Edge Boost gives you fast, reliable access to your funds, making it easier to move money when and where you need it without the delays that come with traditional banks. For you high rollers, you can move up to $250,000 a day on your Edge Boost Visa debit card with unlimited withdrawals. This works 24/7 for instant deposits. Never wait for a wire to clear again. It gets better. Every time you deposit into a qualified gambling account, you earn cashback rewards of up to 0.5%. All this for no usage fees and no minimum balance. Edge Boost is a debit account that makes it easy to get started with no credit checks, no minimum balance, and no usage fees. Simply verify your identity and you're ready to go. Finally, Edge Boost has a suite of responsible gambling tools to help you manage your bankroll and make informed decisions. What are you waiting for? Go to edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. That's edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. And we are brought to you by mybookie.ag. MyBookie is your place to bet on every sport, including the Masters, which I am killing it on, so shockingly. Plus props for every game. MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of locations. Easy deposits and lightning fast payouts using crypto. Get in on, no, I can't say Kyle Filipkowski. His season is over as of today. Get in on your Al Horford prop bets and, of course, your PFL bets at MyBookie. And when you do head to mybookie.ag, use the promo code MMASGPN for 100% deposit match up to $1,000. That's mybookie.ag, promo code MMASGPN. All right, ladies and gents, lady, maybe we'll say lady, singular, and gents. We're off to a Canadian. Hooray. So we know who Gummy's going to pick here. This is middleweight. Yeah, that's right. We're only doing middleweight today. This is in the tournament proper. Aaron Jeffery from Canada, Niagara Falls area. Murad Ramazanov from Russia. 3 5-minute rounds. Let's break her down with Ramazanov first. 12-2 with 1 no contest, 4 knockouts, 4 submissions. He's been knocked out once. He's durable. 1-2 in the PFL. He's lost 2 straight. He went 3-0 with 1 no contest and 1 championship, the biggest promotion in the world. He has fought at welterweight, lightweight, and flyweight. He weighed 121 for a fight, and now he's at middleweight. 2014 pro MMA debut, 3 years younger than Jeffery, an inch of reach on him. Jeffery, 15-5, 9 knockouts, 1 submission. He's been submitted once. He's durable. This is his debut in the PFL. He's gone loss, win over his last 4, 5-2 over his last 7. He's got multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get our merch at sportsgamblingpockets.com/store. Get sticky with it. 4-2 in Bellator, 0-2 in the Contender Series. Who do you lose to, Gumby?
Cobb, Ohio.
2. He lost twice.
Cobb, Ohio, and I don't remember the second one. I do remember Cobb, Ohio, because Ohio didn't get the contract for beating Aaron Jeffery, and then they made him fight again, and he got the contract for the second one.
He lost to Cobb, Ohio, and he lost to Brendan Allen. Ouch. Eh?
Oh,
tough.
That's a tough match. Yeah.
He beat Andre Petrosky, though. Did you know that in LFA?
Yeah, way
So
back
there you
when.
go. There you go. Okay. Used to fight at 170, 2014 Pro MMA debut, 3 inches height over Ramazanov. Gumby, break her down.
I'm going to say Ramazanov, slightly smaller favorite than Murtazaliev. So we'll say like negative 250. But I'm going to pick him in almost the same exact fashion here. I do think Jeffery's probably the better striker. So that's probably why the number will be smaller than the number will be on Maximov, right? Because Maximov not going to really threaten anybody in any real way in that fight. Jeffery, in theory, could, get in his face and force him to box a little bit. And that could be bad for Ramazanov. But like, I'm just regularly brought back to the John Salter fight for Aaron Jeffery, which, by the way, I had John Salter. I'll remember that one for days because John Salter was like 39 years old and still kicking. But like, Aaron Jeffery knows people are going to grapple him and he can't stop it. You know what I mean? Like, Kai Ohio did it, and Brendan Allen did it. You just mentioned those two, but like also like when he was in Bellator, John Salter came forward and like, what does John Salter do other than just like wrestle really adequately? And like Aaron Jeffery just got on his back heels all the time, let the opponent move forward, and then like ate double legs and got pinned up against the cage. And like Ramazanov is a good enough wrestler that I think he could not throw hardly any punches in this fight and still probably win. So I'm going to go, I know it's a boring handicap here, but like saying I'll take the Russian just by like wrestling the hell out of Aaron Jeffery. It's kind of the only way that you can break this one down. So I'm going to take Ramazanov, probably by decision if you want to spice it up, but because the number's probably not going to be all that fun. Maybe you could parlay the two Russians together. You can take Murtazaliev and Ramazanov, but they're both going to win.
All righty. Exciting. It sounds very exciting, Gumby. Exciting bet. All right, no Canadians in this bout for you to fade. Josh Silveira, United States. Mike Shipman, England. 3,500 rounds, 185. Tell you about Shipman first. Seabass is 17-4. 9 knockouts, 6 submissions. He's been knocked out 3 times. This is his debut in the PFL. He's won 3 straight fights and gone 4-3 over his last 7. 2 straight wins have come via TKO. He has not lost since May of 2022. He went 8-3 in Bellator. He's got multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get our merch, get our gear, get sticky at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. 2013 Pro MMA debut for Shipman. Silveira, Konina, Little Conan, not Conan O'Brien. 13-4, 6 knockouts, 6 submissions. He's never been finished in a fight. 6-4 in the PFL. He's lost 2 straight, and he's got 1-3 over his last 4. He was a 2-time champ in LFA because he was a champ at 205 and 185, I believe. 2 years younger than Shipman, 3 inches height, an inch of reach on him.
Yeah, so this is one of those fights where, again, I thought I had a read on who would be the favorite. Like, I thought for sure Josh Silveira would be the favorite when this posts. And I'm hearing a lot of people tell me Mike Shipman is got like a big public backing. And I don't know why. Like, and again, I'm, maybe I'm just a Mike Shipman hater. I don't know, but I thought for sure he didn't have the pull to be the favorite over Silveira. So, we'll talk about this one as if it's even money because, maybe I'm right. Maybe the peeps are right. But I'm going to take Silveira. And the reason why is I just think he's got enough different tools that will bother Mike Shipman. Because on one hand, like Mike Shipman's wrestling is pretty damn good. The dude is like just an absolute block of solid muscle. And pretty much the only way he uses it is by throwing double leg takedowns. Because anytime he punches, it almost looks like those muscles are so stiff that he's like clunky on the feet, right? Like he doesn't quite know what he's doing. And if you've watched Silveira over the years, yeah, obviously he has his flaws in terms of, he's been taken down before, he's been cracked on the feet before. There's lots of reasons to, maybe fade Silveira, but like he also himself is not bad offensively wrestling. When he does get wrestled, his jiu-jitsu is pretty good. His dad is Conan Silveira, so it makes sense, right, that he's halfway decent at jiu-jitsu too. And like he can throw hands. So I actually think his hands are better than Shipman's. I think his jiu-jitsu is better than Shipman's. I think he's just got like more ways to win. And I don't even know necessarily where he's going to try to do it. Like if he's just going to try to, jab and stay far enough away that Shipman's takedowns aren't that good. Because Shipman will shoot from like, that's the thing, like 10 feet away, 15 feet away. And like the shots will be like kind of not so great because they're so far away. Because that's what he wants to do. He doesn't know what else to do with it. So like I could see him jabbing and just staying away and stuffing the takedowns. I could see him like pulling a guillotine when Shipman gets lazy with a takedown. I could see him doing a whole bunch of that. I could see him, getting pinned against the cage and then like turning it around and tiring Shipman out. So I'm going to take Silveira. I like him back at 85, first of all. And then, I like the diversity of ways I think he could win here.
Yep. Topology is in on Shipman, 63% on Shipman. So
yeah, I don't
there you
get
go.
that.
Yeah. Well, good. Maybe you know something they don't know somehow. Yeah. 37% are in on Silveira. So there you go, Gumby. Maybe we'll get a good line. All right. To our co-main event at 185 is Dalton Rosta versus Sadibou Sai, US versus Sweden. Tell you about Sai first. He is a Swedish Denzel Washington, famously. He's 17-8 with 2 no contests. 17-8-2 with 1 no contest. He had 2 draws there. 9 knockouts. He's been knocked out 3 times, submitted twice. 11-6-2 with 1 no contest in the PFL. The 2022 champion. So he's won. However, he's only won 1 of his last 3. 8 of his last 10, much better. TKO win in his last fight. Used to fight at 170 and 205. 2013 Pro MMA debut. 3-inch height, 6 inches to reach over Rosta. Despite the huge size advantage, Rosta is Hercules. He's 9-1 with 4 knockouts. He's never been.
He doesn't have a size advantage. He has a height advantage.
He's Hercules, though. That's true. Yeah, he's not thick like Hercules. Yeah, Rosta's kind of built. He's 9-1 with 4 knockouts. He's never been finished in a fight. This is his debut. He did win his last fight. He's got 9. He went 9-1 Bellator. Used to fight at 205. 1-0 as a pro grappler. 9 years younger than Sai. And since this is the podcast that likes to talk about men's bodies, Gumby's can tell you how ripped Rosta is.
Dalton Rosta is real ripped. And I think he's going to be the favorite in here, but this one should be lined really close. I'm guessing like -130 plus 110. So I'm going to go with a slight favorite, most likely, in Dalton Rosta. I think, I think Sadibou Sai, first of all, I like him a lot better up at light heavyweight. And I know he's run the gauntlet of, I know he used to fight at welterweight and then went up to middleweight and light heavyweight. And he really filled out his frame for light heavyweight, but also seemed to like zap his energy a little bit that he got bigger. And now going back down, it really worries me about what he'll be able to do after getting bigger, clearly losing some power or some longevity of that power, and then deciding, okay, well, I'll cut 20 more pounds. And like, he's had some time to do it because his last fight that was with Andrew Sanchez on short notice. Like he managed to take that fight and stuff like that, but I just don't think he's got the energy to do a Dalton Rosta fight for 15 minutes. Because Dalton Rosta is grueling to fight. Like he gets right in your face. He doesn't let you back or step forward. He makes you on the run at all times, worried about the takedown at all times. He's a big, heavy grappler. I know you're saying the size advantage is to Sai. I mean, the height and length is to Sai. The size is, I bet you, still to Rosta. Because he's a big, heavy dude. I think he's just going to wear on Sai, and we're going to see him, Sai. I would not be surprised if Sai looked really good in the first round with his striking, as he's trying to like box his way out of being back down to the point where he could win the first and then like live bet Dalton Rosta in the second, because like I think he's going to take over and you're going to see a lot more of his, grinding style come into play in the second and third round. So I'm going to go Dalton Rosta. I think probably just an ever so slight -130 favorite.
All right. Before we dive into the very last fight, let me tell you about Underdog, because it is time for Gumby's bonus Underdog Pick'em play for the episode. Underdog Pick'em, you can play any sport and win up to 100 times your money. What are we playing? Which sport?
So basketball's play-in starts on Tuesday. Onyeka Okonkwo is the center right now for the Hawks. And let me tell you something. He's been putting up some absurd rebound numbers. I don't know if you've seen this. He's been over a dozen rebounds in 3 of his last 4 games. So we're going to take the higher on Onyeka Okonkwo's rebounds.
All right. Take that and take our code, MMASGPN. And that way you get to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. So go to underdogfantasy.com and use the code MMASGPN. And Rhythm is your home for AI-backed picks and props. Rhythm is now live for Major League Baseball. Plus, they got models for NBA and golf. Picks so good, it feels like cheating. Building your own model is simple and easy. Get in there, check out the Al Horford props for or projections for the playoffs. And Rhythm has some amazing deals going on right now. 25% off a monthly subscription with the promo code SGPN25 and 50% off an annual subscription with the promo code SGPN50. So that's RITHMM, promo code SGPN25 or SGPN50. All right, we are to our main event of the evening, middleweight, as per usual. Impa Kasanganay, versus Fabian Edwards. U.S. versus...
You do that every time.
I know I do. U.S. versus Britain. 3 5-minute rounds. Let's break her down. We talked a lot about Edwards already. Let's tell you his resume now. He's the assassin. He's 13-4 with 4 knockouts, 3 submissions. He's been knocked out once. He's durable. 0-1 in the PFL. Loss over his last 3. 4-2 over his last 6. He went 9-3 in Bellator. 2 inches height, 5 inches reach over Kasanganay. Tishilobo is his nickname. Can't even have an easier nickname. 18-5, 5 knockouts, 4 submissions. He's been knocked out 3 times. 8-2 in PFL, and the 2023 champion. 3 of his past 4 fights have come with him having his hand raised. He did get TKO'd in his last fight, though. He went 2-2 in the UFC, 2-0 in Contender Series. Used to fight at 170 and 205.
So, I think Kasanganay is going to be a big favorite here. We'll say like -200 to like a plus 170, 175 for Fabian Edwards. And I'm going to end tonight on a dog. I'm going to take Fabian Edwards in this one. For 2 reasons. Number one, Fabian Edwards is only really losing to people who are like pretty damn good wrestlers, right? Like he lost to Johnny Eblin, Austin Vanderford, Costello Van Steenis, like really, really good guys when it comes to mixing it up on the ground, right? I guess Costello Van Steenis it gets his striking going now, but back then he was more of a wrestler. So like he's only losing to dudes who like wrestle a lot. And like I think even if Impa comes with that game plan, which like he very well might, because the last time he got knocked the hell out, he showed up with a wrestling game plan in the next fight afterwards. But even if he comes with that game plan, like, do you feel like Impa Kasanganay's like wrestling game is good enough to just like out wrestle somebody for 15 minutes? That's like just never to me been his thing. Like he did it to, I think after Joaquin Buckley kicked his jaw into a different zip code. I think he tried to wrestle in his next fight and beat like Sasha Palatnikov or somebody like that. And like, you know, that's an easy guy to wrestle. Fabian Edwards, like, unless you are like a tippity top level wrestler, like somebody like Johnny Eblin is, or even Vanderford, is like, you're probably not going to out wrestle him. And then again is the same problem I just brought up with Sadibou Sai is like, Impa Kasanganay is really filled out into a light heavyweight. Like that dude looked very big at 205. And like, we saw it a little bit when he had that, like, what was it? The fight in the Bellator versus PFL event, whatever the hell that was. Like it looked like the size piece of it all was wearing on him. And so, you know, I think Fabian Edwards here should be way crisper on the feet, a lot sharper with the hands. And as long as he stays away from whatever Impa Kasanganay is going to bring with the wrestling, which to be honest, I think he can, I'm going to go Fabian Edwards. The only caveat I will say here, I'm worried about it is like, is he not healthy? Right. Being that he dropped out of the fight once already and then got put back in. You know, I don't know if that's his way of like, maybe he dropped out and got put back in because he knew he couldn't get his release like he was trying, maybe. Or it seems like everybody wants out of PFL these days.
Yeah. I wonder why.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I like Edwards' hands a chance to keep this on the feet. All
right. No lightning round because we did all the fights for you. Let's recap for you here quickly. He's got Edwards. He got Rosta. I'm calling him a Rosta. He's got Silveira. He has got Ramazanov. He's got Murtazaliev. Boom. You're set for the middleweight portion. Tomorrow, we shall do the lightweights. In the meantime, we shall be in the Discord, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. You can hit us up in the comment section on YouTube at MMA Gambling Podcast. Make sure you subscribe as well there. On the Twitter, SGPN MMA, he's at Gummy Vreeland. I'm at Jeff Fox Writer there and on Instagram. Check out my Substack at moneymma.substack.com. Check out Gumby's other podcast, Top Turtle MMA, who is on the podcast this week.
We're talking to Cheyenne Bowers, who's fighting at LFA this weekend. And then we talked to Christian Natividad right before his fight for this weekend got canceled.
There you go. Top Turtle strikes again. So check out Top Turtle. Oh, easy, good listen. And even when the fights get canceled. And of course, we're at sportsgamblingpodcast.com, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. Get sticky with it. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon to get some bonus content. And remember, when you sign up for mybookie.ag or for Underdog Fantasy, the code is MMA SGPN. That way you get a little something extra, and so do we here. All right, we'll be back tomorrow. It'll be the Canadian Denzel Washington, Jeff Fox, Hercules, Vreeland, and we'll talk to you then. Adios.